What if I told you that the Wright brothers almost gave up just 3 days before their historic flight? What if I told you their success came from a secret they discovered by watching birds, something every other inventor missed? And here's the strangest part. They built the first airplane without any college degree, without government money, and using parts from their bicycle shop. Today, you'll discover the untold secrets behind aviation's greatest achievement. Stay with me. Welcome to English Through Truth, where you learn real English through fascinating stories. Today's story will surprise you. We all know the Wright brothers invented the airplane, but the how and why might shock you. I'll share secrets that history books often ignore. Let's begin with something unusual. Section 1. The strange beginning. Most people think the Wright brothers were engineers or scientists. Wrong. Orville and Wilbur Wright owned a bicycle repair shop in Dayton, Ohio. They fixed bicycles and sold them. Nothing special, right? But here's the secret. Bicycles taught them something critical. When you ride a bicycle, you don't stay perfectly balanced. You're constantly making tiny adjustments. You lean left, then right. You're always controlling balance. This idea, continuous control, became their greatest discovery. Every other inventor in the 1900s tried to build stable flying machines. They wanted machines that balanced themselves. The Wright brothers realized this was wrong. Birds don't fly in perfect balance. They constantly adjust their wings. The brothers asked, what if we build a machine that the pilot controls every second? This question changed everything. Now here's something fascinating. In 1896, a famous German inventor named Otto Lilienthal died in a glider crash. Newspapers everywhere reported his death. When Wilbur read this news, something clicked in his mind. He told Orville, if we're going to fly, we need to solve the control problem first. Most inventors focused on engine power. The Wright brothers focused on control. This was their secret advantage. Section 2. The Wing Warping Discovery. In 1899, Wilbur made an observation that changed history. He was standing in his bicycle shop, holding a small cardboard box. He twisted the box in his hands and noticed how the corners moved. Suddenly, he understood. He realized, what if we twist airplane wings the same way? This became wing warping, their revolutionary technique. By twisting the wings, the pilot could control the aircraft's roll. Other inventors used fixed, rigid wings. The Wright brothers made flexible, controllable wings. But they needed to test this idea. Building a full airplane was expensive and dangerous, so they did something clever. They built kites. Yes, kites. In 1899 and 1900, they flew kites with wing warping. They tested their ideas with inexpensive materials. When the kites worked, they knew they were onto something. Then came their next smart decision. They needed wind, lots of wind. Where could they find steady, strong winds? They wrote to the U.S. Weather Bureau and asked for data. The answer came back, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Kitty Hawk was perfect. Strong winds, soft sand for landing, and no people to disturb them. But here's what most people don't know. Kitty Hawk was isolated and harsh. The brothers lived in a tent. They fought mosquitoes every night. They ate canned beans for weeks. They were often cold, tired, and frustrated. Orville once wrote in his diary, we had to use our blankets to cover the glider at night, so we slept without blankets in the freezing cold. This wasn't a glamorous adventure. This was suffering for science. Section 3. The Failures Nobody Talks About. Between 1900 and 1902, the Wright brothers failed a lot. Their 1900 glider didn't generate enough lift. Their calculations were wrong. They flew it, but it was disappointing. Their 1901 glider was worse. It was dangerous. The glider sometimes went out of control. After testing it, Wilbur said something shocking. Man will not fly for 50 years. He almost quit. The smartest aviation pioneer in history almost gave up. But Orville convinced him to continue. They went back to basics. They built something no other inventor had, a wind tunnel. Here's the secret. In 1901, all aviation data was wrong. Scientists had published tables about wing shapes and air pressure. Every inventor used these tables. The Wright brothers tested them in their wind tunnel and discovered they were incorrect. This is huge. Imagine building your airplane using wrong information. That's what every other inventor was doing. The Wright brothers tested over 200 wing shapes in their wind tunnel. They recorded everything. They created their own data. This gave them an advantage nobody else had. By 1902, they built a new glider using their data. This glider worked beautifully. They made almost 1,000 successful flights in 1902. They finally solved the control problem. Now they needed one more thing, an engine. Section 4. The engine problem and the secret helper. The Wright brothers needed a lightweight, powerful engine. They contacted automobile engine companies. Nobody wanted to help them. The companies thought flying machines were impossible. So the brothers decided, we'll build our own engine. But here's the forgotten hero of this story, Charlie Taylor. Charlie Taylor was their bicycle shop mechanic. He wasn't famous. He didn't go to engineering school, but he was brilliant with tools. In just 6 weeks, Charlie Taylor built the engine for the Wright Flyer. He used aluminum to keep it light. The engine produced 12 horsepower, enough to power the airplane. Without Charlie Taylor, December 17, 1903 might never have happened. Yet history barely remembers his name. The brothers also needed propellers. Again, no data existed. They argued for weeks about propeller design. Orville and Wilbur shouted at each other, then switched sides and argued again. This process, intense debate, helped them discover the truth. They realized propellers aren't like boat propellers. Propellers are rotating wings. Once they understood this, they designed efficient propellers. By December 1903, everything was ready. The Wright Flyer was complete. Section 5, December 17, 1903, the day that changed everything. On December 14, they tried to fly. Wilbur piloted the Flyer. It climbed too steeply and crashed after 3 seconds. Damage? Minor. Disappointment? Major. They repaired the Flyer. 3 days later, on December 17, 1903, conditions were good. Cold wind, but flyable. Now here's what most people don't know. Only 5 people witnessed the first flight. 5. Not a crowd, not reporters, just 5 local men from the life-saving station nearby. At 10:35 a.m., Orville took the pilot position. Wilbur ran alongside the wing, steadying the Flyer. The engine roared. The Flyer moved forward on its launching rail. Then it lifted. Orville flew 120 feet in 12 seconds. It doesn't sound impressive, right? But think about it. A human being controlled a powered machine in the air for the first time in history. They flew 3 more times that day. Wilbur's second flight went 175 feet. Orville's second flight went 200 feet. Then Wilbur flew the final flight, 852 feet in 59 seconds. That last flight proved it. This wasn't luck, this was controlled flight. After the 4th flight, a gust of wind flipped the Flyer and damaged it badly. They never flew it again, but it didn't matter. They had succeeded. Here's something emotional. Orville later said they weren't excited that day, they were relieved. They had worked so hard, failed so many times, that success felt like finally putting down a heavy weight. Section 6. The world didn't believe them. You'd think newspapers would celebrate this achievement. They didn't. The Wright brothers sent telegrams to newspapers. Most ignored them. Some printed tiny stories on back pages. Why? Because many inventors had claimed to fly before. People were skeptical. Even scientific communities doubted them. Some said the flights were fake. Others said the flights were just gliding, not powered flight. The brothers didn't argue. They didn't seek fame. Instead, they went back to Dayton and improved their airplane. By 1905, they built the Wright Flyer 3, which could fly for 39 minutes and travel 24 miles. The world finally started paying attention. But here's the sad part. Patent battles and legal fights consumed the brothers' later years. Other inventors copied their designs. The brothers spent years in court defending their invention. In 1912, Wilbur died from typhoid fever at age 45. Orville lived until 1948, long enough to see airplanes cross oceans and fight in wars. Conclusion. So what can we learn from the Wright brothers? First, expertise isn't always necessary. Passion and persistence matter more. 2 bicycle mechanics change the world. Second, focus on the right problem. While others chased power, the Wrights focused on control. Third, test your ideas. Their wind tunnel gave them an advantage because they trusted their own experiments, not outdated information. And finally, don't wait for belief. The Wright brothers didn't need the world's permission. They proved their idea through action. The next time you board an airplane, remember, it started with 2 brothers in a bicycle shop who refused to give up. Thank you for learning English through this incredible story. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share it. What story should I tell next? Write your ideas in the comments. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next video.